Michaela Chester here with NCAA Digital. I am joined by Shannon Scovel from the BOK Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Shannon is at the Wrestling Championships. A lot of action went down yesterday, Shannon. There were 330 wrestlers competing. What was the biggest Thursday surprise?
Yeah, I think the biggest Thursday surprise, this is always such a crazy tournament. You've got 330 of the best wrestlers in the country, and they all gather in one location. And this year it's Tulsa, and it's just such a deep, crazy tournament. And so the biggest surprise yesterday was the chaos at 125 pounds. You had Killian Cardinal, who's an All American from West Virginia. He just roared through his first two matches. He took down App State's Caleb Smith, sending Caleb Smith home early with an 0-2 record. But Cardinal's on the rise, and he's really looking to end up on the podium again. Also at 125 pounds, kind of from an unexpected seed in the high 20s is Eddie Ventresca of Virginia Tech. And Tech's had a pretty good tournament this weekend. I think they're a team to watch, and they're a trophy contending team, and they put together some good matches. So at 125 to have that craziness really stood out. Now those guys are going to have some tough quarterfinals today. But don't take your eyes off 125 pounds. I mean, those guys can scrap. They're fast. They're speedy. And of course, the two biggest names in that bracket are three-time NCAA champ Spencer Lee. So somebody's going to run into him in the quarterfinals and the semifinals. And then Pat Glory from Princeton is waiting at the bottom of the bracket. He's going to try to get through his next two matches to put himself on a path to meet Spencer Saturday night. So, yeah, 125 pounds, super interesting weight. Also, 197 pounds, kind of a fun one. Sort of a weight that everybody thought was going to be chaos all up in the air, and has gone pretty chalk, I would say, after yesterday. He had an upset. Zach Bronigal beat Michael Beard of Lehigh, so that's a big one. And then 2022 NCAA champion Max Dean went down in his second round match yesterday. So lots of action across all the weights, but I'd say those are our two biggest storylines from Thursday.
How about a fan favorite? You were there, you saw how the fan reacted. Was anybody a fan favorite yesterday when the action started?
Absolutely. It's so clear that this Tulsa crowd is behind the Oklahoma State Cowboys, particularly number 2 Dayton Fix at 133 pounds. Dayton Fix has been a three-time NCAA runner-up. He's really hoping to win a national title this year. Of course, the guy that beat him last year, Roman Bravo Young, back in the field, and he's looking just as sharp as ever. But every time Fix takes the mat, you just hear the roar from the crowd. Iowa brought quite a contingent of fans as well, and so of course they're behind Spencer Lee. And every time a Hawkeye takes the mat, Iowa is heard and known. I'd also say Nebraska's showing up in force. Virginia Tech's here, so this stadium has been packed the last two sessions. 15,000 plus fans here to root on their wrestlers, and it's quite the environment.
So you mentioned a few of them already, Shannon, but I want to get you to name some top names, wrestlers to watch moving forward as we keep moving on in this tournament.
Yeah, I mentioned Spencer Lee at 125. He's looking for his fourth title. You got Yanni Diakmahalis at 149 pounds. He's looking for his fourth title, and he made quite a statement in his second round. He pinned Jackson Arrington of NC State, so he wants people to know he's here and he's scoring bonus points. And so Yanni is definitely, he's made no he's not been quiet at all about the fact that he wants this fourth title. So those are the two guys to watch. Of course, 165 pounds, and I think we've previewed this a little bit in some of our content this weekend, but you've got David Carr, who's a 2021 NCAA champ, and you've got Keegan O'Toole, who's a 2022 NCAA champ. Throw in 2021 NCAA champ Shane Griffith in the mix, Big Ten champ Dean Hamidi. 165 pounds is awesome. It's so deep. It's so exciting. And you've actually got Carr and Griffith, two NCAA champs. They're going to face each other in the quarterfinals today. So that's going to be quite a matchup and one you won't want to miss.
Yeah, absolutely. 165, one of the deepest weight classes. Okay, so this is a pretty open-ended question to get you talking about a lot of matchups, but how's the team race shaping up? I know it's early, but how's that going in the most important matchups there?
Yeah, it's early, but there's a clear favorite, and it's the Penn State and Indy Lions. We've got 7 guys alive right now. They'll be in the quarterfinals today. They've got a number of champs returning. I mentioned that Max Dean went down yesterday, but he's not the only guy that has been on the podium, top of the podium in the past for the Indy Lions. Bravo Young at 133. We've got Carter Starocki and Aaron Brooks. They're going for their third title, and they're looking real dominant. So that's a great sign for the Indy Lions. And then Greg Kirksley at heavyweight. He's never won a national title, but he's certainly in the mix. And some of their star youngsters. Shane Van Ness really made a statement yesterday. He beat Ethan Miller of Maryland. And then he also won his second round match. And so he's in the quarterfinals today. That's a good start for Penn State. Alex Facundo at 165. He is actually out of the tournament. But Penn State looking just like they always look at this tournament. This is Penn State's stage, and they have a history of winning here. Though the Hawkeyes are going to want something to say about that. They're significant underdog this year. They've got 5 guys still alive, so they're in it. But yeah, it's looking like all Penn State. I'd say Missouri had a pretty good showing early. They're in the mix. NC State's in the top 5. So there's some teams that are going to be pushing for one of those top top four team trophies, but Penn State is here and they're loud and they're ready to roll.
All right. So you mentioned Iowa Hawkeyes, Missouri. Any other contenders we need to know about, or does that cover it all?
Cornell is always in the mix, with Yanni leading the way. That's some big points for them. Vito Rujal, he's still alive and he'll be in the quarterfinals today. And he's actually got an interesting matchup against Virginia Tech's Sam Latona. Latona beat him earlier in the year, but Vito Rujal, he's a multiple-time All-American. He's made for big moments. He's an Olympic trials finalist, and so Cornell's got some guys still in the mix. So I wouldn't count out the Big Red.
All right. Lastly, Shannon, let's go over the major matchups we need to look forward to, and of course, the possible matchups that could happen in the future. What do you got?
Yeah, so I mentioned Vito and Sam Latona at 133, and I mentioned Karin Griffith at 165. That's going to be a big one. At 157, you've got Penn State's Levi Haynes. He's the number 2 seed. He won Big Tens after beating Peyton Raub of Nebraska, so he's on track. He could be another Nittany Lion champ, but first he's going to have to get through Virginia Tech's Bryce Andonian, and Andonian's funky. He's a scrambler. Haynes is fast. So that's going to be such a high-flying, fast-paced, high-scoring match. You will definitely not want to miss that. And then at 184, just a fun ACC rivalry in Hunter Bolin and Trent Hidley. Hidley's a former NCAA finalist. Bolin's an All-American. So these are two guys that they're very familiar with each other. They keep things close. That's another good one to watch. And then at 285, you've got Colton Schultz and Tony Cassiope. Those are two big guys. They're strong. They're powerful. They're throwers. And so I would expect things to get scrambly over in that match. So be watching heavyweight. The guy that comes out of that match will become an All-American and try to push his way to the finals. And then when we look kind of big picture at who to watch, who might be making some noise on Saturday night, I mentioned, of course, Pat Glory wants a shot at Spencer Lee, and Keegan O'Toole from Missouri wants another chance against David Carr. Both guys are going to have to get there. Both guys former NCAA champs. They've been on that stage before, but anything can happen. This tournament is crazy. We haven't had a number 1 seed go down yet this weekend, but we'll see. Who knows?
All right, Shannon, thanks for breaking it all down. I appreciate your time, and I see the people filing in, so I know you've got a lot coming up. We'll let you get to it.
Yes, thank you so much. Great to talk to you.